We're finally here! I bet you all thought I'd never get this far, that I wouldn't be about to deliver my review for the final saga of Dragon Ball GT. And to be perfectly honest, neither did I. Having not seen the show since it was first released in the West, over the decades my distaste for the product soured dramatically. And while the show most definitely hasn't been great or even good for the most part, I gotta be honest, it hasn't been all bad either. In fact, a large, albeit specific chunk of the story has been decent to pretty good despite the issues I pointed out here and there. In saying that, however, most of it has been as bad as I remembered, but I will bite my tongue until we get through this one. In today's episode, we'll be diving into reviewing and discussing the ups, the downs, and the nostalgia of Dragon Ball GT's final saga. The conclusive 17 episodes of the entire series, the Shadow Dragons Saga. Okay, so to provide some catch-up and context, in the last episode, Goku managed to defeat Super Android 17 and in an attempt to return the Earth back to normal, gathered the Dragon Balls to make a wish. However, something isn't quite right. All the way through the last arc or so, the Dragon Balls have been seen with cracks appearing and chippings covering their once flawless exterior. And when finally gathered during the final episode of the last arc, something unusual begins to emerge from the balls. Some evil ki and a sinister-looking dragon. Again, not a bad setup at all. The premise is interesting, and it links the prior arc with this one very, very well. Bringing us to Episode 1. The episode opens and Shenron is looking a little worse for wear. He announces that he won't be the lapdog to anyone anymore, and King Kai begins explaining that the Dragon Balls have become tainted by negative energy from overuse. At this point, I'm sure King Kai is only being used for exposition and literally nothing more. Shenron then absorbs the Dragon Balls and flies off in different directions as 7 separate dragons. Because the Dragon Balls have been overused, those monsters were born and released from within them. By developing the Dragon Radar and using the balls flippantly over the last 30 years, they have abused their powers and created disorder within nature. Now the Earth and the universe are in peril, and that's pretty much the gist of things this story is going for. Goku assumes responsibility and journeys to fix the issue. In his commute to doing so, disasters begin occurring all over the world. Volcanoes, avalanches, lightning storms, twisters, cities being destroyed, that sort of thing. Each disaster having its own dragon behind it. And as Goku is searching for the dragons, he realizes that he has no idea where he's going. And that's when Pan appears from behind him with Gil, a functional dragon radar. Although I am less than happy with the tenuous reason Pan is being allowed to tag along, together they happen upon a small area covered in what looks like sludge. Gil begins alerting them that a dragon is nearby, and that's when they have their very first encounter. The setup for this has honestly been great, with plenty of tension building up to this reveal. And Episode 2. So it turns out that this dragon is super weak, and Pan begins to take this as an opportunity to show Goku what she's really made of, dismantling the Toad-like dragon with relative ease. This dragon totally took the wind out of my sails and the tension out of this entire arc for me. And here's a small spoiler, it doesn't get much better than this for a while. This, to me at least, wasn't the dragon to start off this search with, but whatever. As the fight continues, he gains more and more strength, eventually overpowering Pan. It turns out that there's something up with this dragon. Apparently, he emits negative energy, causing whomever is nearby to have its energy sucked from it. And so, while he isn't getting any stronger, Pan and Goku are most certainly getting weaker and weaker the more they hang around him. Additionally, according to this dragon, he was born from a specific wish made to return Upa's father to life. Meaning each dragon was created by a specific wish from the past, which is honestly a really nice touch, I think. Once he finishes explaining this, the two of them are drained of energy and he hits them with a blast and dumps them into a poisonous lake. And right at the last second, Gil comes out of nowhere to make the save. What a legend! But the attack was ineffective, leading Gil to get smacked into the water before Pan and Goku are thrown in. But once again, Gil saved the day, dragging both Pan and Goku into an unpolluted part of the lake. Using this moment of respite, a fully charged Goku and Pan take out the dragon, retrieving a fully restored orange Dragon Ball. Episode 3. Goku and Pan are in search of another Dragon Ball when they arrive in this town, eventually coming across some sort of slime which apparently has sucked up all the electricity. This has driven out the townsfolk, and that's the premise of this episode. A small dragon then reveals himself to be the culprit and covers the two Saiyans in this electric slime. To the dragon's surprise, Goku and Pan get up relatively unharmed. In response to this, he begins gathering all of his slime, growing in size. In response to that, Goku goes Super Saiyan 4, but still fails to stop him. The electric slime dragon gets yet stronger stronger again by sucking the energy from the power lines, growing bigger and taking a hold of Goku and Pan. He literally defeats both of them, and right as he's about to deal the decisive blow, by pure chance, it starts to rain, resulting in him sort of short-circuiting and eventually losing his life. What an awful fight, what an awful ending, but at least they got the 5-star ball, and more importantly, this episode is over. Next. In this episode, we deal with yet another dragon. While closing in on another ball, the gang stumbles upon a village as it starts raining fish. The town worships this princess figure as she delivers fish to them, or something. Some kid has a bad relationship with his father, and it's very sad and totally worth focusing on because I care deeply about it. Where the hell is the plot? Oh, here it is. Gil begins detecting the Dragon Ball coming towards them from across the bay. It is a girl, and I guess that explains the whole princess thing. Apparently this dragon was created using the Panties wish in the very first arc of Dragon Ball, much to her embarrassment, and so she attacks. For whatever reason, none of their attacks seem to touch her. However, it turns out that that is just a barrier she puts up, as she is in fact a monster with a grotesque outer exterior. Goku begins spinning around, turning into the genie from Aladdin, I wish I was joking, and starts the battle once again, finding great success. But this is short-lived, and soon after is sent flying into a wall. But thanks to a seagull, yes I'm serious, Goku and Pan find the opening they needed to wrap up this episode's Dragon Ball. Thanks, I hate it. Next. In this episode, they face off against a ground dragon, one that digs. In case that wasn't clear. Okay, so this was getting to be a tired formula 2 episodes ago, but now it's honestly putting me to sleep. The dragon they're pursuing doesn't even want to fight, so they spend the entire first half of this episode just chasing him. However, it becomes clear that they need to stop him when he reaches a nearby town. Goku goes Super Saiyan 4 to save some civilians, and because Goku stopped the earthquake's destruction, which the mole dragon caused, they begin fighting. Apparently, he was born from the wish made at the World Martial Arts Tournament, rectifying what Vegeta did. The fight finishes like you all know it will. Goku fights with it for a while, it makes a mistake, and then loses. One thing that's different this time, however, is that the Dragon Ball starts to absorb Pan. So that's interesting. The dragon re-emerges looking more intimidating, having absorbed the young Saiyan. Episode 6. So apparently he had been using this mole as a host before, and now he would be using Pan as the host, resulting in a more powerful dragon, I guess. Goku right now needs to defeat him without destroying Pan in the process, which honestly complicates things at the very least. The dragon knows that Goku won't fight back to prevent Pan, and so he begins destroying the city. Goku tries to put up a strong front, turning Super Saiyan, knocking him around. However, he soon catches on that Goku has been holding back intentionally. The dragon begins calling Goku's bluff, and as he continues destroying the city, Pan from within the beast begs Goku to take him and her out together, and eventually he does with a 10 times Kamehameha. But not really. Apparently Goku's heart wasn't in it, and so the blast failed to take out the monster. How strong are these guys? Whatever. In a moment of ego and cockiness, the dragon shows Pan one last time to Goku, who seizes the moment by yanking her right out. Once Pan is freed, Goku goes 100% and destroys the dragon with relative ease, retrieving the Dragon Ball, bringing the episode finally to a close. Episode 7. Almost all of these episodes begin the exact same way, with Gil doing his job alerting the two of them to Dragon Balls that are nearby, and Pan getting annoyed either shouting at him or attacking him for some unknown reason. Not only is this boring seeing the same joke land again and again and again, but it also doesn't endear me to Pan's character, who I really want to like. But back to the episode. The city that they've arrived in is super hot, so I'm guessing that's this one's theme, and yep, it sure is. The 4-star dragon reveals himself, and it's the first design that looks like it was taken somewhat seriously. Upon seeing the dragon, Pan makes a mad dash to take him out, and with ease the dragon knocks her out, but doesn't do anything further. He wants to have a regular battle with Goku, uninterrupted. As they fight, he reveals that he can momentarily raise his body temperature to the level of the sun, which is quite hot, I'm told. But so much of this early fight is spent with Goku running away from this guy, which seems really out of character for him. I mean, yeah, he's hot, but throw some ki blasts at him or something. Maybe go out of base form? You have options, Goku. And eventually he does, making the last 10 minutes feel like utter filler. We then cut to Gil as he's tending to Pan when out of nowhere he's knocked to the side by some ice dragon. Finally, the plot is changing things up, which my sanity is grateful for. He looks the exact same as the 4-star dragon, but blue. The fight that transpires between the 4-star dragon and Goku is honestly pretty creative, utilizing their environment to change things up. The dragon fires his attack through a lens to magnify its intensity, and Goku has the great idea to use the Taiyoken or solar flare through that very lens, knocking him for a loop. Both fighters get up, and now it's time to take things seriously. The dragon sheds his skin to reveal a hotter exterior, and Goku goes Super Saiyan 4 to end the episode. Episode 8. You'd think that this episode would cover Super Saiyan 4's battle against the 4-star dragon, but it doesn't. We cut instead to Vegeta, who wants to help but feels like he can't without the power of Super Saiyan 4, and thus begins an entire episode flashing back through Vegeta's story. Essentially, the plot of this episode is that Bulma has found a way to make Vegeta a Super Saiyan 4 using a machine, which on one hand, given Vegeta's story, is a nice change of pace for him. Consistently, Vegeta's fought against allowing himself to be loved and to love other people, focusing instead on his own strength and building that up. However, now those loved ones can help him become stronger than he ever could alone. That is a nice thing and I appreciate that, but a machine granting him that ability feels very at odds with what Dragon Ball's philosophy is and doesn't feel earned to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against helping him at all. I mean, the gravity chamber was a nice way for Bulma to help Vegeta to help himself, but this one just sort of feels like a free pass. As episode 9 then kicks off, so too does the fight between Goku and the dragon, who seems to have Goku beat in the speed department. But through the bizarre use of a mirror, Goku gets the jump on him. However, he gives him a second chance because he let Pan go. The fight therefore is reset, when suddenly out of nowhere, the ice dragon freezes Goku's arm. He begins berating his brother for being so foolish in battle, and as Goku dashes to Pan's side, the ice dragon freezes limb after limb of Goku until he can't move. The ice dragon then orders his brother to finish him off, but he ultimately refuses and unfreezes Goku, who now has his eyes set on taking out the cold dragon. Episode 10. In powering up, the ice dragon freezes the entire city. To prevent Goku from taking him out, he uses Pan as a hostage, throwing the child at Goku, who catches his granddaughter using his back to block the oncoming attack. That's a nice bit of choreography, I think, and actually works from a storytelling perspective too. But Goku gets the upper hand, eventually outclassing the cold-hearted ice dragon, getting him down to his knees. Begging for his life, he offers the ball to Goku in exchange before trying to catch Goku once again off guard. In falling for this underhanded trick, Goku's eyes take the brunt of the damage, resulting in him being blinded. Moving in for the final blow, the ice dragon dashes, only to be met with a fist through the chest by Goku, who reveals that he does not need to see to win. And win he most certainly does, receiving the 3-star ball. While still unable to see, Goku is handed a cure by the fire dragon, whom he has now befriended. As the two are about to go their separate ways, the 4-star dragon is shot down by a blast, revealing the final 1-star dragon, the main bad guy of this arc. In an effort to protect Goku, once again, the 4-star dragon sacrifices himself. There's one dragon left, and it's the most powerful one. And they begin to fight. But remember, Goku is still blind here. He never managed to use the potion the other dragon gave him, and that potion has been destroyed since then. The fight is honestly quite entertaining, with a lot of creative action set pieces being implemented at a fair. Within the chaos of the battle, Goku manages to land his strongest move on the 1-star dragon, to zero effect. Reacting to this, the dragon fires back with an attack of his own, leaving Goku hanging lifeless from a building scaffold. Episode 11. As he hangs from the building, Goku reverts back to his child form, defeated. As the 1-star dragon drops Goku from the building lifelessly to meet his doom, out of nowhere, Goten arrives to make the save with Oob, Gohan, and Trunks. Everyone's there to support Goku, including Videl, Chi-Chi, and even Mr. Satan. The group begins instilling their power into Goku, but they are interrupted by the 1-star dragon that is now being called Shenron. The dragon targets Gohan first and then eyes up the rest of them, who all get saved by Goku at the last second using instant transmission, despite it being a technique he can't use effectively as a kid. Convenient? But I digress. Oob manages to distract them long enough for Goku to absorb his friends and family's powers, resulting in his superpowered Super Saiyan 4. At this point, Goku can't be touched by Shenron despite being blind. After some action that includes throwing a clock around, Goku lands a 10 times Kamehameha on Shenron, and all is right with the world again, it seems. But Shenron has survived and begins absorbing the Dragon Balls one by one, gaining all of their powers. Episode 12. At this point, I want to make known that I hate this Shenron design with a burning passion. The battle rages on back and forth, Shenron demonstrating that he can use the other dragon's techniques. At this point, our hero Goku is pretty low, but he somehow, through the power of plot, gets his eyesight back and lands a massive attack on Shenron, seemingly defeating him. But again, the dragon recovers using once again another one of the dragon's special techniques, healing his own body. Despite me being pretty certain that's not how that particular dragon's ability works. Also, I have no idea why he isn't using the first dragon's technique, you know, the one that sucked the energy out of everything. I mean, he'd be winning now if he was. But whatever. Some more back and forth continues, and Goku finally gets him restrained, looking to take him out the same way Vegeta did with Buu. But out of nowhere, Vegeta interrupts this, and using Bulma's machine begins transforming into an Uzaru and eventually Super Saiyan 4. But what really impresses me about this scene is exactly something I actually criticized in Dragon Ball Super. In Dragon Ball GT, Vegeta, not Goku, Vegeta is the one that brings forth the idea of fusion, and that shows a ton of character growth. Episode 13. The two Saiyans fuse, creating Super Saiyan 4, Gogeta. And Shenron cannot touch them. And Gogeta is toying with them. In really unamusing ways, if I'm being perfectly honest. It gets very old very fast and really sucks the tension out of what was an episode that already lacked a lot of tension for me. Shenron gathers all the energy he can muster into one blast and Gogeta just kicks it away easily. And that's when, out of nowhere, suddenly the world becomes normal again. Apparently, when Gogeta kicked the ball, he converted the energy from negative to positive. Which... okay. Gogeta then hits him with a Big Bang Kamehameha, releasing all of the Dragon Balls, but for some reason this guy still refuses to kick the bucket. And wouldn't you know it, the fusion ends, despite it being only 10 minutes and the fusion expires because of power or something. Where have I seen that before? Episode 14. Okay, so Shenron won't let them fuse again, and Goku eats the 4-star ball because... obviously. For a little while, there's a bit of a cat and mouse game going on here. Goku and Vegeta want to fuse, but Shenron isn't giving them the chance to. Why doesn't Goku just teleport somewhere safe with Vegeta to do it there? I don't know. Anyway, after 20 minutes of being thrown through buildings, they decide to use their after image technique and once again become Gogeta. But no, it didn't work because Goku was low of energy. They try once again, leading to Goku reverting back to base form. He is completely zapped of energy. Episode 15. Now with Goku as a kid and Vegeta in Super Saiyan 4, they need to figure out how to salvage this situation. And that's when they notice Goku has the 4-star ball on his forehead. The 4-star dragon then comes out of the ball and hits an oncoming blast away. The 4-star dragon claims to have been infected by Shenron when he absorbed him earlier and now fights Vegeta, whom he easily overpowers and is now down for the count. And after knocking Goku to the curb, it seems chances are grim. But when Vegeta rises to his feet, he comments that the 4-star dragon had been pulling his punches. That's when we notice that Shenron's guard is now down, leaving the perfect opportunity for the 4-star dragon to dash in behind him and restrain him. The 4-star dragon begins to glow, locking him inside some sort of heat ball. I don't know, what would you call it? Fireball. Yeah, that's probably better. He self-destructs this fire heat ball, exploding the two of them, scarring the landscape beneath. The 4-star dragon lands to the floor, seemingly victorious. And that's when Shenron emerges from his carcass like a spiky butterfly from a chrysalis. I cut for a second. I have no idea what's happening. This show is bonkers. So Shenron put himself inside the body of the 4-star dragon, and then he burst out again, but he also exploded. And that's when Vegeta drops back to base form too, because enough bad things haven't happened already yet, I guess. He turns to Bulma, who points out that the machine has been destroyed and therefore can't produce any more blood waves to, power him up again. But little does she know that she can pull another one out of her butt super easy because she did that during the Baby Saga. Episode 16. There's really no tension for me at this point. Goku and Vegeta struggle against Shenron, who has now sidelined Vegeta and sent a blast towards the Earth. Goku now stands holding back the blast in his base kid form, reaffirming to me that I have no idea how strong anyone in this show actually is. Goku manages to somehow deflect the blast, and at this point I can't help but fret that characters like Goten, Trunks, and Pan have little to nothing to contribute to this final fight, barely getting any shine in the story at all, never mind from a dialogue perspective. Vegeta goes on to lament over his planet being destroyed by Frieza, and now this planet is about to follow the same path, ordering everyone to hop onto a spaceship with Bulma to survive. That is the main priority. It's a pretty strong moment for Vegeta, charging headfirst into battle while ordering his children and Goku's children to someday avenge them. It's a really cool scenario, and to be perfectly honest, it would have been a pretty cool premise for a story too, but perhaps a little too dark for Dragon Ball. While Vegeta holds him off, Trunks and the rest of the kids decide to help anyway, which is a dumb decision and makes all of their lives useless now. Together they attack to no effect, and that's when Goku rises from the rubble with a spirit bomb. The first one of the series too, and this is a pretty cool visual, possibly my favorite looking spirit bomb in the entire series. Not just GT, so how about that? Goku uses Kinkai to communicate to the universe and gathers energy from throughout. He throws the bomb and the fight is over. Goku lies lifeless on the floor, and the Dragon Balls release the original Green Dragon Shenron by themselves, ending the episode. Which brings us to Dragon Ball GT's final ever episode. And man, It's a doozy. But like the other episodes, let's go through it slowly to figure out how it works. The episode opens as Shenron, unprovoked, heals Goku of his injuries and awakens him. Shenron begins explaining that due to their over-reliance on the balls, the Earth and the integrity of the Dragon Balls themselves have been compromised on more than one occasion, and so announces that he will be leaving. Goku quickly interjects and requests that the Earthlings that have fallen be brought back to life. Not that the Earth itself be fully restored to the way it was, just to bring back the Earthlings to life, explaining that they can all work together to restore the Earth themselves, which honestly, for me, was a really nice touch. Shenron agrees and the Earthlings are brought back. The group share a smile and celebrate the successful wish, but that is almost immediately brought to an abrupt stop as Shenron asks Goku to come along with him. Goku seems to know where he's going and says that he'll see everyone later. And as Goku flies off on the back of Shenron, he asks if he can stop at a few places before they leave for good. The first stop is Master Roshi's home, where he is reacquainted with the hermit, Turtle, and his longtime pal, Krillin. They shoot the breeze and reminisce over their old training days when Krillin says this. Goku can see the hurt in Krillin when he says this, and with an unblinking smile, he asks if Krillin would like to spar for old time's sake, allowing Krillin to land one last punch, building up his confidence before leaving for good. A nice parting gift to his one-time rival and long-time best friend. The next and final stop Goku wanted to make was to see Piccolo, whom at this time is residing in Hell. It seems he's content working as effectively their security guard while there, which honestly is nice. Goku appears before him requesting to shake his hand, saying these parting words. Piccolo, confused and distressed over what's been said, turns to find that Goku is once again gone. At this point, the episode switches back to the gang on Earth following Goku's departure. They all begin going their separate ways, but Trunks notices that Pan is still staring up at where Goku left. Trunks reassures her that the Dragon Balls will one day return and that they need to first help ensure that their strength is enough to protect the Earth and the universe on its own. As they leave, Pan notices Goku's clothes on the floor, picking them up. Vegeta, from outside of her point of view, tells her to hold on to that last piece of Goku dearly, as if to suggest that Goku was a very important person worthy of fondly remembering, even for Vegeta. With that, Goku falls asleep on the back of Shenron as the Dragon Balls disappear into the tired Saiyan's body. The scene fades to black as we cut to the next scene, the World Martial Arts Championships Junior Finals match. In the distant future, a new spiffy young announcer begins introducing a fighter by the name of Son Goku. It's revealed that this young boy is a distant descendant of the Son Goku we're all familiar with, who, along with Mr. Satan, now has a statue commemorating him at the World Martial Arts Tournament grounds. Pan is seemingly at this point the last remaining character we all know alive. Now a doting grandmother of the young Son Goku, looking on from the sidelines as her grandson takes the stage wearing the same tattered clothes her grandpa left behind many, many years ago. As a cute turn of events, Goku Jr.'s opponent happens to be an ancestor of Vegeta, bearing a striking resemblance. The two begin clashing in dramatic fashion, assuming even Super Saiyan, when Pan notices something in the corner of her eye. What follows this is honestly an intensely nostalgic look back at the journey we have all shared with Goku through the series as he walks out of the martial arts tournament grounds. The final lines of the story being, goofy, cheerful, and gentle, that's the Son Goku we all loved. This is where the story of Dragon Ball ends. What an outrageously appropriate, touching, and utterly beautiful way to close the book on what is to millions and millions of young people and old throughout the world their childhood, their inspiration, and even at times, their friend. And if this arc was simply just this episode, I'd have nothing but fantastic things to say. But let's talk about this arc as a whole before I end on a positive note. I really wanted to make this arc two separate videos, as talking about the ending and the arc, to me at least, feel like two separate talking points. So let's take one before the other in this video. The arc as a whole had what is, to me, and probably to most people who took the time to watch it, a very interesting and fitting premise for a story within the Dragon Ball mythos. There is absolutely an over-reliance on the Dragon Balls, and to convince your audience that there are consequences for that over-reliance isn't a tough sell, but the execution of it felt incredibly formulaic at the best of times and incredibly boring at others for me. A worry that I had from the start was that with the premise as it was, an evil dragon emerging forth from each individual Dragon Ball, I feared that it would just turn into a monster of the week type format, and it pretty much did, at least for a while. 5 episodes covered the exact same formula. Show up in a town, Gil alerts them to a nearby Dragon Ball. Pan hits Gil for no reason. They find the dragon that's causing trouble to the city, village, or town, and they defeat it, and then the town is better. 5 episodes in a row follow this very predictable, boring, tired format, and it really hurt the show for me. Additionally, with a premise and villains as easily justifiable as these, the dragons are given no motivation at all. They are just evil because. They have no reason to be evil, they just are. I don't really like that. They don't have an underlying motivation at all. They refer to themselves as evil, which to me just isn't interesting. The final villain for this story really felt lifeless for me. Like he had no personality and was a cookie cutter, by the books Dragon Ball villain, simply there to facilitate big moments for the heroes to rise to, unlike characters like Vegeta and Frieza who improved the battles simply by being who they were. Additionally, his design really didn't do anything for me. I know this is a subjective thing, but it really just felt more Digimon than Dragon Ball, if that makes sense. And finally, Pan. I admire Dragon Ball GT for wanting to, and in many cases successfully achieving, a believable and interesting new character in Pan, but they never, and I mean never, give her anything worthwhile to do except cause problems for Goku and Trunks sometimes. In this arc, I ask, why is Pan still tagging along? Surely Gohan, her father who was eager to help, would have an issue with his daughter putting her life at risk like this. And not only that, she causes a problem for Goku in literally every single episode. Why is he cool with her being around all the time? Now, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of Pan as a character, but a character needs a reason to be present. And she really doesn't. She has a motivation to be there, sure, but not a reason or excuse to be there. But that brings us to the ending, which on its own is the single most fitting and tear-jerking ending I've ever seen. One that I've seen a great number of times prior to my watch through of this, but one that also never fails to bring a tear to my eye, perfectly encapsulating what I love about Dragon Ball and Goku in a few simple snapshots at the end. It's a beautiful way to end the series, and one I have never, ever forgotten, and probably never will. But now I have a question for you guys. Next week, I have my final thoughts video on the entire Dragon Ball GT series as a whole. But after that, I have an idea. Over the last year, I've covered the entire catalog of Dragon Ball movies, and now I have watched Dragon Ball GT. I was thinking that since Dragon Ball Super's 2-year anniversary is right around the corner, I would cover each arc of that show the same way I did this one, seeing as I've never done that with Super before, and at the end, I'll make a video talking about which series I thought was better and why. Dragon Ball GT versus Dragon Ball Super. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. But that'll do it for this week. As always, I've been Totally Not Mark, and thank you so much for watching. Until we meet again.